Does that sound fine?
What's the boogeyman?
Welcome back to the Moonjuice Metal Horror Podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but are not afraid to shit on both of them. I'm Matt.
I'm Mike. Okay.
Yeah. So we did not go to the theater to see this one, although we probably could have because it's still in theaters.
Really? It's still in theaters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still in theaters. I don't know if it's still in theaters here in Germany, but it's still in theaters in the States.
Okay.
We could have gone to see it in the theater, but thankfully we didn't have to. Not that I would not have paid money for this one because I like the movie.
That's
I like
a great
the movie.
movie. It is.
Yeah.
It is really a good movie. Yeah.
What would you call this one, dude? Would you call this one a horror film?
Well, no. Well, in my opinion, you told me it was a horror movie. We actually planned a reaction.
I thought it was, dude. I thought it was.
We actually planned a reaction for it that we recorded, but going into this movie, I thought it was just going to be a horror, but it's not really. It's a thriller. You can say yes. Later on, it becomes a thriller. And you can say it might have one or two horror aspects to it, but for the most part, I wouldn't even consider this to be a horror movie, dude.
So would you then say that this is maybe more of a horror movie than Army of Darkness was?
No.
Okay, because I put this one kind of on the same, like the subject matter is not the same as Army of Darkness, right? But the humor is in some places. So I'd call it a dark comedy. Thriller/dark comedy is where I'd put this one.
Well,
is it worthy enough to go on the podcast? I think so.
Yeah, I would say yes. It's worthy enough to go on the podcast because you can say it does have a few aspects to it, but for the most part, it's just a thriller. Thriller comedy, as you said, yeah, I would say fits pretty much. But okay. Army of Darkness was yes a horror, but it was more comedy horror than horror. But you can't say with Army of Darkness that it did not have its very clear horror aspects to it. This movie, by the way, in my opinion, has zero horror effects to it. Zero.
So yeah, you're gonna go with this is not horror. I'm gonna go with you're right, but it's definitely in thriller territory.
Yes,
for a couple of reasons.
Thriller.
There's some decent like scares in it. There's some gory stuff, and just overall, it's kind of a dark subject matter, right? Even though it's kind of done tongue in cheek. One thing this movie really does do well, though, and you probably agree with me on this, is like this is everybody's almost like revenge fantasy for any of those fucking jerks that work up in like Fortune 500 companies that treat all their employees like shit, and or like the golf and buddy types, the office bro types, those fuckers. Watching those guys get the shitty end of the stick for once is kind of what this movie is about. But it takes that trope, which we'll get into it, but it takes that trope towards the end and kind of spins it on its head when you realize what's really going on. And I think that's what makes this movie work, is that you're expecting one thing the whole time, and then you kind of find out that it's not, right? What you thought it was. And I think even when we were doing the reaction video, you said that. You're like, yeah, this might have happened. And I was like, we don't really know that, And then it turns out you were right, but you called it. A lot of people wouldn't have called it,
I don't remember at what point was it when I called it? That's what I don't remember.
Well, I can't say it right. I can't say it right now without giving it away. That's the problem. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But there comes a point in the story where things are kind of looking a certain way, and you think as the viewer, and this is kind of a credit to the director, writer, right? But you think as the viewer, shit, maybe this is what's happening. And then you're like, you know what? They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. That would kind of ruin the story. So you think it's not going to happen, and then you find out it did happen.
Yeah.
And that makes the story interesting instead of fucking it up, which was cool, right? So this is another movie in a series of movies done by a very, very, very well-known director. And this one was kind of a bit of a surprise. It's along the lines of the stuff that he's done in the past, but still a little different, I thought. Even though you can tell who's doing it because of some of the things that happen in the film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was an odd pick. And I have to wonder how this idea was come up with. Brilliant idea. But anyway, any other way you want to tap dance around this before we give it away?
No, not really. I mean, just like the movie overall in general, if I wanted to make fun of it, I would say this movie is like a mixture of, let's say, Robinson Crusoe and Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. That's actually pretty good.
Has a little bit of Big Brother in there with it, you know?
Yeah. A little bit of Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what the show is called. You know, I don't know. I don't really think we have that show here in Germany.
You guys have Survivor, don't you?
Really?
I thought you guys did.
Hey,
I thought
good.
that was a worldwide phenomenon.
Really?
I thought
Okay.
so. I know that you guys we had, what was it? It was a stupid fucking show. It was called The Real World. We had one called The Real World, and you guys' answer to that was Big Brother. So you guys had Big Brother, and we had The Real World.
Yeah.
And then Survivor came along, and I think that became an international thing. And this movie has a little bit to do with that series as well.
Wasn't that with us in Germany, the Jungle Camp?
Not that I remember, dude. I remember back in like 1997 to 2004 seeing Survivor here. But then again, maybe I'm having one of those what the fuck do you call it? Mandela effects. I don't know.
Well, dude, I don't know. You know, I haven't actually been really watching TV since like 2005.
Yeah, I know. The only way I catch TV shows is on Netflix or
yeah. Okay,
whatever's on Flex. You know.
I used to watch, you know, like I had like my few TV shows I used to watch, you know, when they were new on TV, on ProSieben. It's the German private channel. But outside of that, no,
this TV's fucking garbage, man. That's why.
It always has been. Yeah. I remember the last time when I continuously was watching TV was during the time when Big Brother first came out in Germany.
Yeah.
I was still learning my trade, learning the profession of butcher. I was like in my first year of training.
Mm-hmm.
And I started that, I think, in 1999.
Okay.
Early.
Dude, I quit watching TV probably.
I remember. It was 9/11.
Yeah. That was around the same time that I quit watching fucking TV. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you couldn't do anything without being reminded of that shit. Like you couldn't turn on a TV program without them gaslighting you about that incident.
Yeah, well, the gaslighting, that's also something that I noticed long before that. But it's just, how should I say it? I mean, at the time when 9/11 happened, everybody already had access to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And you could already very, very fast, and this was before Google had any restrictions.
Yeah.
And very, very fast, you could even tell what was true and what was not. And yeah, we all know how that usually goes down. If I say what I actually think, I'm going to be called a conspiracy theorist, but for multiple reasons.
Yeah. But I don't know. This is not a conspiracy theorist podcast, but the amount of conspiracy theories that were called conspiracy theories at the time that have now come out and are true, it's kind of stupid to call anybody a conspiracy theorist unless it's something like the president, you know, gets flown to the moon every time he has a speech and gives a speech from the moon that's made out of cheese. Yeah, then okay, you're definitely a conspiracy theorist, dude. You're fucking batshit crazy, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that have not been adding up for a very long time, and people have brought them up. So, and a lot of them have come out to be true. So I keep a very like open mind when it comes to that stuff. But I also don't go down the rabbit hole because I don't see the point. I think all that stuff's going to come out eventually.
Yeah.
And you can, you know, bother yourself with it every day, or you can choose to ignore it and live your life. Most of it I can do that, but some of it I can't. But the things I can't are very real world things that we probably need to fix. But that's beside the point. Anyway, we got on this topic because of Survivor. What the fuck is wrong with us?
I know it led to TV and how I haven't been watching TV in over 20 years. And somehow it led to that, you know.
Okay.
It's just funny. It's just a funny situation how like people say like, yeah, but then you don't know what's going on in the world. But what about the news and all of that? It's like, I mean, okay, I'm pretty much well informed about everything going on. I don't remember
without having to watch the news. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't listen to radio. I don't watch news. I don't read newspapers. Somehow I still know everything going on. Social media to me is one big fucking joke. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's a bunch of assholes on the internet. Social media is also like that's one of the few things that's been able to overthrow governments. So I can't
Really?
I can't. Yeah, man. A few governments in the Middle East were
Oh,
overthrown just over Facebook, which is pretty crazy. Like if you give people a place where they can talk and the government doesn't really feel intent on monitoring it, which they haven't been up until this point, where now they realize it's actually dangerous.
mhm.
You can get people together to do something. All the rallies that are going on in the States right now are formed on Facebook as well. So the only problem with that is the government watches that stuff really close now.
Yeah.
That's beside the point. Anyway, yeah, I think we can say the name of the movie now that we're done. What movie are
Yeah.
we doing next?
We're doing Send Help from
Yes. Yes. You said it right. You said it right. I don't have to drink. But by the way, just to let everybody know, me and Mike went over to our drummer's girlfriend's house. He had like a barbecue this last weekend.
Yeah.
And that guy is probably the most fun guy to feed too many drinks to. Is that fair?
Yeah, we got wasted totally, dude.
He was playing darts, and there's this fucking drink that he swears he likes, but he doesn't really like. And so, as a joke, we always have some around.
Yeah.
Or even he had some at the house because he told his girlfriend he liked it. He doesn't really like it, but we would just kind of put a shot in front of him and be like, "Oh, you did this. Now you have to drink one." He'd be like, "Oh no, man, I can't. I don't want to." And he'd shoot one, and then a couple minutes later, we'd be like, "Oh, you did really good," because he was playing darts or some shit. And he was doing really well, and we're like, "Man, now you get a reward drink," and we'd bring it over to him, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, not this," and then he would shoot it anyway. And it just got progressively worse throughout the night, but not less funny. It just got funnier and funnier. So I felt like there's a part of our podcast that we have where Mike is not the best at reading names, and so he tends to butcher a name or two when we're going through the cast or the creators. And I always make a joke that the viewers have to take a drink every time he fucks up a name. And I thought, well, what fun is that? I should just start taking shots every time he fucks up a name. So that's what I'm going to start doing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to start doing.
But as we said, as for the viewers, you don't have to take them all at once. We just have to know you have to take them over throughout the period of the podcast. And if you're drinking now, I'm going to say when you have to take a drink. For every name is
okay, Mike, just be nice. Okay. I got a good liver, and you already know that. Like I'm a pretty decent drinker, but if you start fucking them up on purpose, I'm going to notice, dude. So if you legitimately fuck it up, Mike, and I'm doing this to save myself. I don't have to work tomorrow, but if you legitimately fuck it up and I can tell you fucked it up, I will drink. But if you like say the name Bob wrong, I'm not going to shoot a drink. Okay.
Yeah. How about you? You asked me to be nice.
Yeah.
Mike, don't be a jackass.
Yeah, you don't want to get me tanked, dude, because if I have to do the rest of the episode tanked, that's not going to be any fun for anybody.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
I'll lose my place, and I'll forget what we're talking about and what part of the movie we're at. Just be nice. Don't purposefully fuck it up. That's the only thing I'm asking. Just don't purposefully fuck it up.
You probably know exactly that I was just about going to do that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I figured as much. This is why I'm putting out the warning right now. I'm going to be able to tell.
Okay. So, but before we get into the movie and our weekly ritual of name butchering, if you like our podcast, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. And I mean, apparently you could hype videos on YouTube. We're maybe going to try to see if we can figure out how to do that. And if it pops on our videos, do that too. I have no idea how it's done. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, by all means, push this shit. I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah. Just push.
We're still going to do it, whether anybody watches it or not, because this is
just
kind
go
of
onto our YouTube channel and push every button you see. Okay.
I'm drinking whiskey as normal, along with this other stuff. So just remember that too. Okay. So you go ahead, Mike. Who's in this movie and who created it?
Okay. Who created? Oh, what? I just said that. Who created it? It was Sam
Raimi. Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi.
Yeah, okay. Now it
starts out with ADHD memory.
Yeah. Okay. Then we get into the cast. Okay. It starts out with Rachel McAdams playing Linda Liddle, Dylan O'Brien playing Bradley Preston, Adil Ismail playing Zuri. Do it. Okay. No. Okay. Then we have Xavier Samuel playing Donovan Murphy.
Okay. Yep. Fair.
Then we have Dennis Haysbert playing Franklin. I think you have to drink another one there.
How's it spelled? How is it spelled, Mike?
Okay. Haysbert. I spelled that right.
You said Haysbert, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, I don't have to drink. That's fine.
Okay,
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, then we have Chris Payne playing Chase. Okay. Then we have Thanith Vera Cool No New. Okay, and yep, good. Then we have Nana Mia. And also, there's something I did a little bit of research on. I'm not sure if you know it because there's one person of the cast I left out.
Who?
Sam Raimi's daughter.
Sam Raimi's daughter?
Is in this movie.
No shit. Who is she?
Emma Raimi. You remember the girl that, the other woman that our main protagonist talks to in the office?
Yeah, the woman that's sitting right next to her, yeah.
Yeah, that's Sam Raimi's daughter.
That's her? No shit, dude. Okay. I'm gonna have to go back and look at her. But yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that from looking at her. Okay. That's cool. This wouldn't be the first movie she's been in, I'm sure.
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's a very good chance she was in at least one Spider-Man film. I promise you that.
I recognize her from the name alone. So I thought, she's probably
I mean, it's Raimi. There's not that many people named Raimi.
Yeah, just like his brother Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi, yeah.
Twins. I'm not sure if
they're twins, but they're really close in age, and they do look a lot alike. Actually, met both of those guys.
Oh, okay.
Ted Raimi's a goofy bastard, man. Like, that's actually how he is. Sam's a pretty quiet dude, but that's probably just because he's super fucking famous and really doesn't want to talk to people.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Now, my question, and I feel stupid because I didn't do the research on this. Did Sam Raimi also write this, or did he just direct it? Looks like some shit he would write.
I think he only directed it. Yeah.
Okay. Another thing I noticed was that he has a thing that he does with every movie he directs, and that is to put Ash's car, the Delta, in every movie in at least one scene, right?
Yeah.
But I did not see that car in this movie anywhere.
I can't think of it either.
No. So yeah, I mean, if anybody is a fan like we are, and you watch this movie and we missed it somewhere, please tell us where it is because I could not find it anywhere. Which is odd because he even put that fucking car in the Wizard of Oz movie he made, which was odd that he even fitted into that movie, but he did.
Which one did
he
make?
This is the first time I haven't seen it. He made, so it was a prequel to The Wizard of Oz. And it had Mila Kunis playing the evil witch. Good movie, dude. Good movie. I liked it.
It was good. Actually, that was actually the first book,
Mm-hmm.
Wizard of Oz is actually, if I remember, the third book. No, or second book. No?
Yeah, I learned that from you. I did not know that. That was not common knowledge for me, and I feel like I should be kicking myself because I should have known that. It's only like the most popular movie ever made besides Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you're a fantasy fan, you might like the Oz books, even though they're very absurd. They're very, very weird, dude. Clearly, they're fantasy books also meant for kids, obviously, but there's a lot of things going on in those books where like, holy shit. And they're totally off the ball.
Yeah, it's no less weird than the Alice in Wonderland books or Through the Looking Glass.
Yes, exactly.
That kind of weird.
Remember a movie I loved was Return to the Oz? No?
Dude, I fucking love that movie. That is a creepy, fucked up movie for kids.
Dude, that's how the books are.
Seriously. Okay.
Throughout the entire thing, that is basically the tone of the books.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a bit like Through the Looking Glass, the Alice in Wonderland stuff, because that stuff is twisted as hell too, man.
Yeah.
And when you read it, it's hard to believe it was made for kids. But I mean, to be honest, Mike, throughout history, the stuff that's been made for kids has generally been pretty fucked up. Like if you go back to like the Grimm fairy tales, right? The original German Grimm fairy tales, those are also beyond fucked up and horror in their own right, I think. But for whatever reason back then, people thought you had to scare your kids straight, basically, just to get them to behave. Anyway, this movie is filmed like a Sam Raimi movie. The angles are filmed like a Sam Raimi movie. The scenes that you see have a hint of that whole Evil Dead Army of Darkness slapstick to it in parts.
Yeah.
When there is blood, it's not just a little bit of blood, it's like buckets of blood. It's very Sam Raimi. And I think too, his whole thing with the Three Stooges and that kind of humor, if it's not horror, it sticks out even more than it does in horror movies. And the times when it happens here, you're like, I didn't even have to know that this was a Sam Raimi movie. Just a few scenes gave it away. The scene with the boar, for one, is the dead giveaway.
Yeah.
So hard to explain, but there are people that watched this movie that felt bad for the antagonist throughout the entire film, the guy. So you got the protagonist and the antagonist being the guy that ends up on the beach with him. There are a bunch of people who felt bad for this guy throughout the movie. I did not feel bad for this guy once.
No, not until
Till the
Not
end.
one.
Till the end, it's like, yeah, I agree with you. I never, up until the end, pretty much, I never felt sorry for this guy.
No, not once. The opening scene kind of establishes all of it too. If you've worked in an office setting, which I assume if you're an adult and you're watching this, you probably have, or at least you know someone who has, or you do currently. There's that whole office dynamic where, you know, the awkward people or the people that are a little bit not as socially capable as everybody else are kind of left out, right? And this is everywhere. It's just normal human behavior, and I never did understand it. Because honestly, if you get to know the awkward person, they're a lot more fun than the other people, usually. But nonetheless, the main character is just an awkward female. Her name's Linda. She lives alone. She has a bird as a pet that she talks to all the time. She's an extremely intelligent person. I wouldn't say genius level, but she's close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's a math whiz. She has held this company together with her abilities to calculate where money is going, how it's working, how much needs to come from one area to another to make something else work better. She's the reason why this company is still going. And she worked directly under her boss's father, right? And her boss's father is played by Bruce Campbell, although you never see him on screen, just a picture of him on the wall, right? And she was working under this guy in this Fortune 500 company. This company's booming. You assume this is one of the biggest companies in the US. We never get to see the name of the company, but it is a big company. So she was one of the main people that piloted this thing and got it to where it was going. Her boss died, and we don't see this on screen. We kind of see the next day, right? She comes into the office. She has these quotes on her desk. She has one from Helen Keller that says, "Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement," by Helen Keller. Like, she's an extremely positive person and funny. But she comes into work knowing that her boss has passed away. She knows from working closely with this boss that she is supposed to take over his job if anything were to happen to him, right?
Yeah.
Right? Which means she would basically be the head of this company. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, and it's not really explained why, his son, who is also an estranged son, like he didn't really have a whole lot to do with this kid, is an adult and has inherited the company, right? And so he comes in and you're kind of introduced to him, and he's a fucking total jerk. Frat boy, annoying, kind of egocentric prick, right?
Yeah.
There's a few things that you see before you meet him, and that's that she put this report together that's about this thick, and it's a report of how the company's doing, where they need to improve, who needs to be moved around, all this stuff. And it's a very big report. And for anybody who is not like good at this stuff, this would have taken months to put together. She puts it together in a night and is about to go into the boardroom with this big report so that she can kind of explain it to everybody. This other guy that also works at the company, who's also a very frat boy type, walks up to her and says, "Oh, hey, you got that report?" And she shows it to him. She's like, "Yeah, I got it right here. It's ready to go." And he's like, "Thanks, I'll take that," and goes into the boardroom with her stuff to go explain the whole thing to them as if it was his creation, right? So you get the feeling like this kind of thing has probably been happening a while. The son shows up, which I cannot remember his name, because he's forgettable as fuck. I hate him, but I don't remember his name. Anyway, he comes in and he introduces himself to everybody. She's like, because she's kind of a nice person, she's very like ready to introduce herself to him and say, "Hey, you know, I'm the person that got this company up and running with your dad, and we worked really closely together." This guy basically just ignores the shit out of her, right? He's not at all interested in having anything to do with her. You can see from the things that he's looking at on her as she's talking to him that he's kind of grossed out by her. Like, he looks at her shoes and he doesn't like her shoes, and he looks at her clothes and he doesn't like her clothes, and he looks at her hair and he doesn't like her hair. And she was also eating a tuna sandwich at her desk. So she's got a little bit like on her face. And it does a close up of that and then shows his expression of how grossed out he is by it. So he does not like her at all. But he himself is just a shitbag. So meeting him doesn't go very well at all, obviously. He just kind of walks all over her. And so she's sitting there waiting to be able to go into his office to talk to him because they had things they need to talk about. She's been running the company. She wants to show him the ropes and what she's done. He's completely disinterested in this. And then somebody lets it slip that she's not going to be the one that's taking over the company and that he's giving the job to his friend, which is the guy that took the big stack of paperwork from her and basically told everyone that it was his job and that he did the job that she did. So she's like super distraught by this, as anybody would be. And I really feel bad for her. And I think you did too. When we were doing the reaction video, you were like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. Because you could tell that she was ready to start being in charge of the company. And undoubtedly, she would have done a good job because she's a good person. Or at least we think, right? She's a good person that would have run this company well. She realizes she's not going to get the job and that he's giving it to someone who's only been there for probably a year or something. I can't remember how long this other guy had been there. And that really pisses her off. So she decides to walk straight into his office and go talk to him. But you can tell she doesn't really want to. She's like really upset, but also not much of a like people person or someone who has to like not good with confrontations is what I'm looking for. Right. And so she walks into his office, and before she gets there, she realizes he's sitting on his desk talking to another female employee and says something kind of very sexually suggestive to her. Something like, she says something like, I'm willing to go above and beyond for the company. And he kind of stands in front of her and is like, oh yeah, how high above and beyond are you willing to go for me? You know what I mean? Which is very sexually suggestive. Linda notices that and keeps it in the back of her mind, and then walks in the office and says, hey, I need to talk to you right now. He says, well, I'm kind of busy. And she's like, no, I know you're busy. I need a moment of your time. So the girl gets up and walks out. She goes in and she says, I heard that I may not be getting the position that I was promised by your father. And this guy, there's no real good way to explain this scene. Like this guy he's a pompous asshole. He is a young guy where it's obvious he's done nothing for himself. He's been given everything. Probably every bit of money he has come from his father. Has probably never had to work a day in his life very hard to get anything. And just thinks that he's the shit, dude.
Yeah. He's one of those people that he just thinks everybody else besides him is stupid. And that's how he treats her. I mean, he treats her with this fake, nice type. Where you clearly see he's just acting like a boss and he's acting this way because he thinks she's stupid. Yeah. And and I would say I've seen people like this at work and they treat everybody this way. They act usually like everybody else is dumber than them. They're the smartest person in the room, even though all of the time, every single person I have met that is this way themselves is a complete fucking moron. They usually have an IQ somewhere in minus digits, in negative numbers, usually.
Yeah, and that's just the kind of guy he is. And so he listens to what she has to say when she's in his office and says, okay, he levels with her, but I think he more than not just levels with her enough to keep her from flipping out and doing something crazy or like sabotaging the business. Because a lot of the times when something like this happens, when someone gets passed up for a promotion or doesn't get the position they were promised and they're in charge of something big in the company, they will then sabotage the company with what they know. And I think he's at least smart enough to realize, okay, I have to put this fire out before something bad happens. So I'm going to give her a little bit of hope, right?
Yeah.
So he tells her, we have this big meeting in Bangkok, Thailand, this week that we have to go to. We have to go negotiate. And he says, before I give that guy the job, why don't you show me what you can do? Why don't you come with us and prove to me that you have what it takes to run this company, even though he's not going to give her the job. That was never his intention, but he's doing this to try to like calm her down. She agrees, and you can see from her face, she feels like, okay, maybe this is not all for naught. Maybe this is my chance to shine. Maybe I can show him that I can actually do this. And so she agrees to go. The minute she agrees to go, he's like, yeah, great, wonderful. I'll see you at the plane, and then starts playing golf in his office, right? And then his fiance walks in. So this is the first time we're getting to meet his fiance as well. And his fiance is a very tall, beautiful woman with this big diamond ring on her finger that looks like it probably cost $100,000. It's a gigantic fucking ring. And this is where she realizes, okay, he's not only an asshole, he's also a prick, because I just watched him flirt with this other office worker and be sexually suggestive to her when he has a fiance at home.
Insanely
So
hot
he
one as
didn't-
well. No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And I never did understand this. These guys have a hot woman at home. Why do this shit? Like, what is this? But it's always these fucking guys, dude. It's these type of people right here. The ones that
Yeah.
are obsessed with people stroking their ego all the time. Sam Raimi does a great job of like pushing his character to the forefront and showing you how much of a fucking dick this guy is, right?
Yeah. What makes it
Um,
also better than everything that happens to him.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
That's the thing. And this is one of the things we complain about with horror movies too, right? Because with horror movies, a lot of the time you don't get the chance to know the characters or get to understand them before they get offed, right?
Yeah.
And I never liked that. Like, make me care about the character before you kill them. That way it's more impactful, right? Well, this guy, you're getting to see how much of a fucking jerk he is and how much you hate him before you see all these horrible things happen to him. So I appreciated that. Like, don't show me a little bit. Show me how much of a dick this guy can actually be, right? And they do that in spades. So yeah, we cut from the office scene and it's the next day. It's either the next day or the next week. I'm not really sure. And they're all about to board this plane to Thailand. And it's him and it's the guy that he was going to give her job to. And then 3 other guys from the office. And they're all kind of the same frat boy, golf playing, office bro types, right? And they're all standing in front of the plane. She walks up with another stack of paper and she's like really positive and ready to get on the plane and like, hey, let's go do this. Let's make this big win for the company, right? And all the guys are just fucking ignoring the shit out of her. They act like she's not even there.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't even walk up to the plane. And she gives this whole speech about how she's going to do a great job and how she's found a loophole in one of the audits where she realized she could save the company a shit ton of money. And she's trying to explain that. And when she's done explaining it, he takes his earbuds out and he goes, "What'd you say? I didn't get any of that." Prick, dude. So they get on the plane. All the guys go to the back of the plane and are kind of sitting around each other. She's up in the front all by herself on her laptop, being busy like she normally is. She's someone who cares about the company. She's someone who wants to see the company succeed and do the best it can do. So she's typing up this paper for them so that when they get to Thailand, they can open it up, take a look at it and say, okay, if we have this much money left over, if we nix this account that we don't need, then we can take that money and put it into this project. And that was the whole idea. So she's over there typing this stuff up and they're just doing their typical, like talking amongst each other, making sexual jokes, just being typical jerks. And then one of them opens his laptop, the guy who he was going to give her job to. He opens his laptop, goes to YouTube and pulls up a video from her page. I want to say it's her Facebook, maybe. I don't know.
Probably YouTube channel or some
Probably, yeah, maybe a YouTube channel. But it's a video that she made for the TV show Survivor that she was going to send to them because she really wants to be on Survivor. This is like her big thing. One part we skipped earlier was her at home. She was sitting at home with her bird, talking to her bird about the whole day and what happened. And then she turns on Survivor and watches Survivor with her bird. That's her nightly routine. This guy opens her video and shows her video to everybody else that's on the plane, all the other guys. And they're fucking dying laughing at everything that she does in this video. And yeah, dude, it is awkward, right? I'm not going to lie. Like the video is extremely awkward of all the things that she's doing and saying, but it's nothing that people wouldn't do if they were making a video to send to Survivor. Right?
Yeah, it's awkward, but I wouldn't say it's anything that I would make fun of somebody for. You know? No.
But if you were an asshole, you probably would.
Yeah.
Because it's low hanging fruit. Like if you,
it's low hanging fruit, and at least she could. One thing, she set up this video. She has knowledge on the subject, and she edited it. She done a lot of creative shit for this work. These people specifically, they have zero skills regarding this. And if they're assholes, what the people like this usually do is the easiest way to make yourself look good is to make everybody else look bad.
Yeah.
Easier, and that's what these people do.
Yeah.
I've seen it not with these type of guys. not at my job I have now, but at my current places where I work, I've seen people even try to do that to me.
Oh,
You know,
dude, I'm gonna be completely honest. It's happened to me multiple times.
yeah, I know guys. I know guys.
Creatives get picked on, dude.
I mean, I had the luck that my boss at the time stopped this person from doing it, and that the majority of the employees that were under me respected me way too much that they just didn't believe anything. But a new guy, he noticed that he nowhere had my skill level or nowhere could compete with me. No.
Yeah.
And so he tried to just make me look bad at every situation. And I mean, he made me a little bit unsure for a while. No. But it was a point where at, at the time, my boss, I was a little unsure. What these people do is they fuck with your mind and they make you believe the shit they're saying as well. No? And however, one day I went to the office of my boss because I just had the feeling like he was not really happy with my work or whatever and blah, blah, blah. So I just went into my boss and, just sought out the discussion with him. No? It was like a few sentences I told about him. No? Absolutely hilarious, dude. No? My boss leaned up from the desk and like, where'd you get this shit from? He looked at me like,
dude.
He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where did you get this shit from?
Holy shit.
then-
Okay. Did you tell him?
Oh, of course I told him. No, I said like, hey, dude, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say the guy's name. He's been saying this and he's been saying that. And I don't know. I have the feeling like somehow my work isn't that well or somehow, you're not, happy with my work or whatever. He looked over me and it was at 12 o'clock. And I think it was at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And he looked at me, and the guy for the next shift comes around 2 o'clock, and he looked at me. He says, "Mike, take a day off. Just go home and take tomorrow off." Then he called him, and that was sorry, I saw her name.
It's okay. I'll bleep it out. I'll bleep it out.
Another coworker, and he told her, "Tell when he comes." I said his name as well. No, tell
I'll
him.
bleep it. Don't worry.
Tell him when he comes to come directly to my office.
Awesome. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Was he still there the next day?
Of course, but it stopped.
Okay.
It stopped. It's
Good.
all of that literally stopped the day later. And
Good.
it's just one of those things that a lot of people, when you have these issues at work, they just don't think about it. And I just it kind of bugged me, so I just directly confronted my boss with.
Yeah,
When I started,
that's what you should do, but that's something a lot of people don't know to do,
yeah. I mean, I first tried talking to this coworker of mine, and it never really worked out. And I just constantly, again, had the feeling, and I don't know, it just comes into your head, and then you start to believe, yeah, my boss also isn't happy with my work, so I just directly confronted him out of my own efforts.
That's what you have to do, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you can't. There's always going to be people that, and this is a much longer conversation, but I've had this conversation with multiple people. There are people who get to the top by stepping on everybody else, and they don't think twice about doing it. And if it means that they psychologically harass you to make you think that you're doing a terrible job and nobody likes you, that can get to you after a little while, right?
Yeah.
And that's enough to make you back off enough for them to step on you and move up, right? And so if people do that to you, do exactly what you just did. You go immediately to your boss and you say, hey, here's what I'm fucking hearing. Is this true? Do you really feel this way? Or is this just somebody fucking with you? If you have a good boss, he's going to tell you, dude's fucking with you, man. That's not true. I like your work. You're doing a great job. I'll take care of this guy. That's what a good boss does.
Yeah.
But if you just let him do it, you may have quit. You know what I mean? You may have just quit without even knowing. But yeah, dude, like I've had situations like that throughout my life, especially in the military. Holy shit.
Yeah.
The military is full of that kind of thing. It's always somebody trying to make you look bad or talking bad about you behind your back so that they can get the glory or they can get the next mission that you wanted to go on, that kind of thing. It's just human behavior and I don't understand it. Unfortunately, if you let those people continue doing things like that, then those people are the ones that make it to the top and those are the ones that end up controlling everything. And then you're in the situation we're in now with the world, right? Yeah. So just a lesson for anybody else out there who's a little bit weird like we are. We're a little bit weird. I have no problem saying that. I know I'm fucking weird. I'm a nerd and a metalhead. It's fine.
Yeah.
Mike is too, right? if you have someone who's constantly picking on you and you have someone who's like trying to make you feel like shit about yourself, it's usually because they don't really like themselves much.
Yeah,
They don't like themselves much.
it's either that or they have nowhere your knowledge or skill level on anything.
Yeah.
And the only way they have, just like I said, to make themselves look good is to make you look bad.
Yeah. And in turn, that makes them feel better about themselves because they're bringing somebody else down. Right. Which is fucking sick, dude. I've never understood that behavior. I've never understood that because in no way does making someone else feel bad about themselves make me feel better as a person.
No, it's selfishness. It's egoistic. It's them people thinking only about themselves. And in my opinion, it's evil.
Yeah. And maybe for that reason alone, I really didn't fucking like this guy because he is absolutely that type. Like he is threatened by her ability to do what she does. And the fact that she's a huge asset to the company scares the crap out of him because he wants to be able to be in charge of everything. And he knows that her knowledge is much higher than his. So he treats her like shit. And he gets all the other employees that are men to treat her like shit. And I don't think it's just her because the other girl that we see that's in her cubicle area, which is also Sam Raimi's daughter, you also kind of see that she's keeping to herself. Like she's not really doing anything with anybody else in the office. She's kind of just doing her job and going home. But anyway, she's on the flight with these guys. They're openly laughing at her video that she made for Survivor, just making fun of her. And at about that time, the plane hits a little bit of turbulence, right? Just a little bit. Just enough to give the plane a bump. Just enough to make some of the guys that are standing up sit back down, right? And when they sit back down because they realize there's turbulence, the main guy goes, yeah, sit back down in your seat and put your seatbelt on if you're a pussy, and starts laughing. And then the plane hits a shitload of turbulence. And the guys that are still standing up, like, get thrown into the roof of the plane. Like, stuff starts coming off the walls. This plane is going down now. It's like from 0 to 100 real fucking quick. Plane's going down. There's sparks flying throughout the plane. Stuff's flying everywhere. The guys who were able to get into their seat are in their seat. The guys who weren't are flying all over the plane right now, right? The side of the plane rips open. One of the windows blows out. I think the emergency exit blows out. And the guy who is going to get her job is being sucked towards the fucking exit. He grabs onto her seatbelt and like holds himself inside the plane. And then she's trying to help him. She's like trying to get him to her so that he doesn't fly out. And then at that exact same time, he looks at her and says, give me your seat. Like, give me your seat. He wants her to get out of her seat and give him her seat so that he can survive. When he says that, she basically quits trying to help him and he gets sucked out of the plane. But on his way out, he smashes his head against the door and his tie gets stuck on the inside of the door, right?
Yeah.
And so you see his tie and you think, oh, he got sucked out and his tie is still hanging there. No, he's hanging by his fucking tie on the outside of the plane with his face banging up against her window. So she's buckled down in her seat looking to the right and his face is just slamming into the window on the outside of the plane. And every time he slams, his teeth fly out of his face. His face is getting bashed against the plane really hard. It's a pretty gory scene. And then eventually he gets cut loose and dies. So basically everybody in this plane that was standing up is now gone outside of the plane and dead. The only people that are actually in their seats are her and the main guy. We're just going to call him asshole because I don't remember his name and I don't care about his name. I will say the actor did a really good job of playing a dick. So it's definitely not the actor's fault. Great actor.
I like the actor. The actor's a pretty great guy.
Dude, he was fucking great.
Yeah.
And I think I asked you if he was the guy from the Evil Dead remake that was in it.
No, I mean, I just know this
him.
guy. I know Dylan O'Brien. The first thing I saw him in was in Teen Wolf, the MTV series.
Teen Wolf?
Yeah, he's one of the main. He's one of the main characters. You know, not the guy that played Teen Wolf. No, but he had what?
Styles?
Yeah,
Styles. So he played
Styles.
Okay,
He's Styles.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, did you not recognize him?
No, because I didn't see the remake TV series. I'm really familiar with the original one with Michael J. Fox. I love those movies because they were classic 80s like comedy horror movies, right? And so I know all the characters because I love those movies. I did not see the remake, but I remember his friend's name was Styles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
okay,
he plays
Styles. Okay.
In the remake, he plays Styles. The series was great. The first 3 seasons were okay, but yeah, it was more teen drama than horror, but it was not bad show.
That's kind of the way everything's going. Although I have my own opinions about those kind of series, if that's like a good thing or a bad thing. Did you ever watch Riverdale?
No, not the remake. I remember the comic, but I never watched it.
So I haven't either, but I've been pushed by multiple people to give it a chance because apparently it's I wouldn't call it horror, but they say it's a very thriller version of Riverdale. Like there's murders and death and all this crazy
Yeah, but
stuff that
wasn't
happens in
that
it.
in the original comics as well, Riverdale? I only remember
Was it?
comics.
We're talking about Archie.
Oh yeah. Okay, okay. Now I know what you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Archie, Jughead, Veronica, all those kids. It was like 1950s
Yeah.
comic. It was very wholesome, right? Uh, but apparently the series goes into all that and makes it into kind of a drama,
I don't
uh,
know. I think
dark
I
thing.
think I have watched a little bit of it, but I got bored with it. It's like something people have been what pushing me to watch was Euphoria, and
Never heard of it.
yeah, it's that one show with the actress from Spider-Man. What's her name that plays in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies that plays his love interests?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the series. I know the
Yeah.
actors. I don't know the series.
Jacob Elordi plays in there. Sydney Sweeney is also in it. Nah, and I'm like, okay, I just see it. It just looks boring to me. The only reason to watch it is because you see a few scenes of Sydney Sweeney almost nude, and I'm like, dude, that's not. Yeah, that's like okay.
Yeah,
That's I don't know.
there's plenty of ways to see naked women if you want to. That's not a reason to watch a show.
I don't know. And it's just like for me, Riverdale as well. I don't know. I just thought it was boring. I think I watched one episode and I was bored.
Okay. I haven't seen it. I've only heard, and I figured you would have seen it because you're more of like a series person than I am. Like
Yeah.
if there's a series worth watching, especially like horror series, Mike probably has seen it and can tell you if it's worth watching or not. Right. I miss so many fucking series. I just do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to go back and watch Supernatural now because you've talked so much about it. And I only caught like certain episodes of that series and thought it was great, but never watched the whole thing. But now I've actually gone back and watched more of it. I love it. So, I mean,
Okay, so you like it.
yeah. By the way, I know you're not into the boys, right? Like, but did you
No,
catch?
I like the boys. I really did. I just got bored with it in season 4. But I like the boys.
Okay. I started watching it again because we're on the last season, so I figured I've watched it all the way through season 4. I might as well keep going. There is a very cool joke that is in it that you will only get if you know about Supernatural or if you were a fan. And it's a joke that happens like this, right? And if you don't know what you're looking at, it just looks stupid. And you're like, okay, what was that about? But it's actually a joke on Supernatural. The other two guys that are in the show with him show up as wannabe superheroes and he has to introduce them because they're special, like special ed, you know? And so they're having to be nice to these guys. So they show up covered in like tinfoil Superman outfits or whatever. And he has to introduce them and he's like, what the fuck? But it's the two guys from Supernatural.
Yeah,
And
but that's
it's Soldier Boy who has to introduce them.
yeah, but it's also but that's not in the show. That was just promotion for the show.
I want to say it's also in the show, but not quite like the promotion, if I'm not
I mean,
mistaken.
no, I mean, yes, those. I mean, the thing is, the three main characters of Supernatural are in the final season of The Boys, and that was announced a very, very long time ago. But the video you're talking about, that was a promotion video done by the three main actors that were in there because the creator of The Boys is the same guy that created Supernatural.
Right.
Huh? Exactly. And so that's why he brought, I mean, those three actors are in that show for a reason. I mean, they made videos about it, and specifically for the third season, this is something that was being marketed, that these three are coming back together as a kind of mini Supernatural.
Okay.
What's it called? Supernatural. God damn it. Not a
Miniseries?
renewal. What? Huh?
Miniseries?
No, that's coming back as a Supernatural memorial. No, I'm looking for I can't.
Okay.
Is that
okay.
However, there was also this. They've done multiple videos. Those three actors. I also know what characters they're playing. I've seen a few clips of it. Could be pretty funny. Specifically, if you know the characters that they were in Supernatural, and then you see the videos of the characters they're playing now.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It's cool. I'm actually pretty surprised at the recent season of The Boys. It's actually really good. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Okay.
they kind of stepped it back up to where it's a little bit more coherent now, but it's good. I like the final season so far. I'm interested to see what happens because I never read the comic book. I don't even know if they're following the comic book anymore, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I mean, I've never read the comic books. I mean, The Boys came out in a time long beyond I think when I was still even reading superhero comic books very into. I mean, I don't know. I stopped reading comics in my mid-20s at some time. No?
Yeah,
So I don't really know, dude. I can't tell you.
I stopped with superhero stuff probably like late teens and then started reading like the darker stuff like
Mm.
Sandman and some of the other stuff and
Mm.
kind of quit the superhero stuff. But yeah, I never watched or read The Boys. So I have no idea what year it came out. I have no idea what comic book company did it.
Well,
I'm
I know a little
assuming
bit of.
probably Malibu or Dark Horse, but
I'm not sure. I done a little bit of research on it when I was watching The Boys because I'm always interested in the source material.
yeah.
So I done a little bit of research into the characters and everything and blah blah blah. And well, they do a lot differently in the show than in the comics. I think in the comic they've done the TV show has multiple gender and race swaps in it.
Yeah.
No? Multiple. No. But I don't know. Other than that, as far as I can say, it's I don't know. I would say yeah, I guess it follows the comics pretty well. I don't know.
I don't know. We might have to have somebody who's like an expert on the subject tell us in the comments or something. But
Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay, but
I
let's get
remember
back.
somebody. Yeah, I know. I just remember somebody complaining that they went off script on a few things. But I mean, same thing happened with Game of Thrones. Same thing happens all the time. It's nothing new.
Yeah, but Game of
Um,
Thrones does suck. Game of Thrones sucks.
yeah, it sucks. You're right.
I don't
Absolutely.
like it. I'm gonna get
It's a
hate for it, but
disappointment.
yes, but everybody that knows me knows that I do not like Game of Thrones. I think it's the worst fantasy franchise ever created. I think it's awful. I think it's boring. I do not understand why people like J.R. Martin. I mean, not him as a person, not just his
Yeah.
writing. No, I just think it's insanely fucking boring. Insanely, he's the most boring fantasy author I have ever came across.
Never read the books. Never read the books. I liked
It's
the
it's
series up until series 3 and then just season 3 and then just quit
I
watching.
don't know. I barely made it through season 1. I watched season 1, and after that, I knew this show wasn't for me. No, and it's like, where's the fantasy shit? I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but every single character in this show is just an evil, complete fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
I literally want to slit the throat of every single character in this show. The only innocent thing happening is the people banging. And I'm sitting there when I was watching the show at that time, with my ex-girlfriend. No, I was saying like, hey, no, if we wanted to see people fuck, we can watch porn.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just think that I don't know, for whatever reason, it's easy to start liking a character in the show and then want to see them naked. And I think that's what kept a lot of the male population watching. But for me, the story itself just went off the rails at one point, and I was like, I'm not really sure this is what was in the book. Come to find out, it's not what was in the book. They had to. J.R.R. Martin is the slowest writer in history. This is not up for debate. Like, this is something that everybody knows. So he finished 3 books, and then he said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to finish the other book in time for them to make the TV series." And he didn't. He just quit writing it. So they had to come up with the last 2 seasons on their own, and it was awful. It's fucking terrible. So yeah, that's a series that just went off the rails because the writing one wasn't all that great, and then they had nowhere to go with it because they had no more story to put into the series. Whatever. I thought cinematography was great. I thought the special effects were great. That's about it. But yeah, we're gonna get some hate from Game of Thrones fans for that.
I don't care, dude.
I don't care. Okay, anyway, so back to the movie. Anyway, so where were we? The plane crashes into the water, right? The only 2 people that are left are her and him. And she manages, when the plane hits the water, she manages to get out of her seat, get into the water before the plane sinks, and start swimming for shore, right? Which you can see shore a little bit of ways away. There's an island that you can
Mhm.
see in the distance. Not a very big island, but it's an island. So you know that they're close to land. She starts swimming towards the island, but blacks out because she swallowed too much water. It cuts to black. The next scene you get is she wakes up on the beach, right? And when they crashed, it was nighttime. So that was like in the dead middle of the night. How this chick didn't get eaten by sharks, I don't know. But chances are, if they were on their way to Bangkok, Thailand, there were sharks in the water. Somehow she made it to shore, right? So she's on shore. She wakes up in the sand, looks around, realizes there's nothing for miles, that she's just on this island, right? And immediately, like, you can see this click that happens in her head. She's like, okay, I have to make a shelter. I have to start gathering supplies to be able to live, because if I don't start doing that now, I'm not going to make it, because she already realizes she's dehydrated. So she gets coconuts, she cuts them in half, she lays them out with banana leaves so that the banana leaves will gather water from the rains, and that way she has something to drink. She starts building a shelter. She manages to get most of her shelter made before she realizes that down the beach a little bit more is the guy. He survived as well, and he's lying on the beach knocked out. And it was at this moment when I was watching this where I was like, fuck. Even though I knew what was going to happen because they showed it in the previews. But there was a little piece of you somehow that was just hoping this guy didn't make it. Because the best thing that could happen to this woman is if she's left the fuck alone from all these shitty people for at least a little while and gets to live her dream of being a survivor. So she realizes he's alive. She picks him up off the beach and drags him back to her camp. He's completely passed out and not there. So she builds him a shelter, takes the clothes on him that are off, that are soaked, so that they can dry up. She piles stuff on top of him to keep him warm so he doesn't get hypothermia, and then basically nurses him back to health while he is out. So he's not around for any of this stuff to realize what's going on, right? Cut to 2 days later, and we know it's 2 days later because he asks how long he's been out. He wakes up, and he wakes up underneath the shelter that's been built for him. And he looks around. She realizes he's awake and is like, oh my God, you're awake, you're alive. Okay, she brings him a coconut half that's full of water, makes him drink. This guy does not say thank you. He does not say thank you. If anything, he looks repulsed by her.
Yeah.
Just being close to him. You know what I mean? Like, she's close to him, giving him water so that he can survive. And he's looking at her like she's filth, right? Doesn't say thank you. The only thing he asks is, how long have I been out? She says 2 days. He said, 2 days. 2 days. That's amazing. She's like, yeah, I basically made sure you had enough fluids and made sure you had shelter and made sure that you survived, because if I hadn't done that, you would have died. She says that. He doesn't say anything back. No, thank you. No, nothing like that. First thing he says is, shouldn't you be like putting together like some type of signal for planes to see or boats to see or something so we can get rescued? Still no thank you. No, nothing like that. She replies back to him, well, I mean, I wasn't really concerned with that right now. I was mostly concerned with keeping you alive. So that was my main priority, not trying to get us out of here. So sorry. Of course, this goes over his head. Like it's almost like he didn't hear any of that. We realize he's got a broken leg that was broken in the accident. She's got that all bandaged up, and he realizes that because he looks down like he wants to stand up, but he can't because his leg is broken. She's got it splinted and taken care of. There's pressure on the wound so that it doesn't bleed out. All the things that you would have to do to save somebody's life. Again, he doesn't say thank you. She tells him, okay, so we have water, so I'm going to make fire. So she goes over, picks up a flint and some other things, makes a fire, gets that started, and then says, well, now we need something to make, right? We need something to eat. So then she sharpens like a spear and some other things, like normal stuff that you would do to catch fish, goes out. A little bit of time passes. She comes back with 2 or 3 fish, right? She puts the fish over the fire, makes the fish for him, brings it over to him, puts it in front of him. And the first thing he says is, oh, fuck, I'm not eating that. Like at this point, I would have just been like, that's okay. You don't have to eat. You can just die. I don't give a fuck.
Like I just leave the fish there for him and do whatever. This is like the point where people say like they feel sorry for this guy. No, I mean, yeah, maybe towards the end, but we don't have to say now. One thing I'm like, why does anybody feel sorry for this guy? For one, he's a complete fucking asshole. No? And the situation he is in now and everything bad that happens to him up to a certain point is because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
But now just consider the situation this guy is in. Now, so far he's on an island with somebody else that absolutely knows whatever the fuck to do, knows how to get food and all that shit or whatever. It's basically a paradise island. No? So all you have to do is chill the whole time. And on top of that, He has an attractive woman that throughout half the time is walking around half naked.
Mhm.
What is there to feel sorry about? I mean, dude,
I
come on.
don't get I don't understand. And this is one of those things where I wonder who makes these comments. You know what I mean? Like, did you watch the movie is my first question. Like, or did you just watch little bits and pieces of it? Because there's not
Well,
one thing this guy does that could make you feel bad for him. Nothing.
what for
Empathic?
empath people?
Not. Yeah.
Because if you that's my opinion. I mean, every normal person, in my opinion, looks at this guy. This guy is a complete fucking asshole. No, I don't think that the most people are going to be happy about what happens to him, but they're not going to really feel so.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anything that happens to this guy in this film is anything he even deserves. Like any of the good stuff that he gets, like she finds him, nurses him back to health, tries to feed him, brings him water, nurses his leg back to health to where he's able to walk and stuff. He did not deserve any of that. So there's nothing that I can say I feel bad for him. If anything, he got too much. Because I'm going to be honest, Mike. I mean, call me an evil person if you want to. If I'd have found him on the beach, I'd have just left him there. I'd have just left him there. I wouldn't have helped him. I wouldn't have done it. I would have left him there. I don't think anybody like that is worth saving. Even later, we get a little bit of a sob story from him about his life and why he is the way that he is.
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad for him then either.
Nah, me neither.
You know, like,
I mean,
yeah, okay.
There's a lot of people that would say, yeah, but it's that context, you know, what he's been through. It says, yeah, okay, sorry, boo-hoo. The guy still is a complete fucking asshole. The point is, to a certain degree, I understand it when people say, like, yeah, I want to know why the people did that. What was the intent? What led them to become that way? Okay, I mean, to a certain extent, okay, but I don't give a shit. This guy's an evil fucking scumbag. I don't care why.
Yeah.
He's an evil fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I don't want to throw around like the narcissist word, right? Because it's way over fucking used. It seems like anybody who's ever been done wrong by someone uses the word narcissist, right? But
yeah,
this guy is a narcissist. There's no other fucking word for this guy, right? And the first thing that narcissists do when they're caught, and you know this, and you've been through it, and I've been through it. The first thing a narcissist does when they've been caught doing narcissistic behavior and hurting other people is start to blame their behavior on the way that they were raised. It's my dad's fault. It's my mom's fault. The fact that this happened to me, that's why I am that way. Dude, you are a fucking adult. And no matter what happened to you in the past to make you a certain way, you've got to like realize that that behavior is not okay and fix it. Period. So there's no excuse. So I don't care what type of sob story this guy gives or anybody gives me. If you're a shitty person, I don't care what happened to you. You're a shitty person and you're an adult. By now you should have figured it out, right? And that's where I am with this guy. And this stuff doesn't end anytime soon. Like there's a whole half an hour that goes by of her taking care of him, nursing him back to health, you know, and he's just insulting her the whole time. Like he never says anything nice. He insults her. He makes fun of her shoes again. And he's like, whatever. She gets tired of his shit after a little while and goes, okay, you know what? Because what does he say? He says something like, I'm the boss. I'm the boss. I'm your boss. So you're going to do what I say, right? Thanks, baby. Sure. You're going to do what I say. So you're going to go get us food and you're going to get me back to health and whatever. And she's like, okay, if that's how it's going to be, have fun on your own. And she gets it and she leaves. She walks away and we get like this montage of him sitting there looking at his watch as the hours pass. And like the first pass, he looks at his watch and he's like, I can do this all day. She's going to be back any minute. 2 hours later, he's looking at his watch. He's like, okay. She's trying to teach me a lesson, but it doesn't matter. She'll be back. 4 hours later, he's sitting there and his like mouth is dry because he hasn't had any water and he's basically dying of thirst, right? And then she comes back and she's got more fish and she's like, okay, are you ready to play nice? Are you ready to not be such an asshole? I have fish. So she makes fish. He eats it really quick because he's starving and then starts to act a little bit nicer to her. Not like super nice, but he's not an asshole anymore, at least, right? I think because he realizes if he doesn't do that, he's not going to get fed and he's not going to get taken care of. So he's doing what he needs to do to survive. She says, I noticed there were wild boar tracks back in the woods a little while back. I think I'm going to go hunt us a boar, right? He says something fucking stupid. He says something like, a wild boar, isn't that like a really mean pig or something like that? This
No,
guy's
it
fucked.
will be an animal or something like that. Yeah.
Like he doesn't know what a wild boar is. She says, I'm going to go hunt this wild boar. So she goes off into the woods and we kind of get to follow her. And this is a cool scene. I like this because it's done very well. Like the pig here is CGI, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
see it. But it's done tastefully and it's actually pretty scary looking pig. She gets jumped by this thing, basically. It attacks her, knocks her over. I think tries to bite onto her leg, but ends up biting the spear on accident. She stabs it once
Mhm.
with the spear to get it off of her, and it runs back through the jungle, and she thinks it's gone, and then all of a sudden it runs back at her one last time, and she's about to die because this thing's about to just eat her face. But she puts the spear up, and like when we were watching this for the reaction video, Mike was like, I would just put my spear up in the air and let the damn thing run into it. And sure enough, that's what she does. Like she puts the spear up and it basically impales itself on the spear right through its mouth. So the spear
Yeah.
goes into its mouth and into its like stomach, and it's just spitting up blood on her in a very Sam Raimi way the whole time. Like this big spurt of blood on her face, like just douses her face. It's still trying to get to her, even though it's got the spear in its mouth. So it's like pushing itself closer to her. She takes another stick that she'd sharpened and starts poking at its eye, and eventually kills it. But when you think it's dead, of course, it's not really dead. It tries to get up one last time. And when it does that, it pukes up like a gallon of blood in her face in a very Sam Raimi way. She's covered in blood from head to toe. Right. She realizes she's killed the boar, so she comes back to the beach. She cuts off its head because she's basically already taken all the meat off of the boar and got that in this backpack that she's made. Drops the head of the boar at her feet. And it's a cool scene because she's like hunched over with her hands on her knees, kind of like looking down at him. And she's completely covered in blood and out of breath. And she's like, have you ever been hunting? I just did. And I think I like it. And it's a cool scene because she's just fucking covered in blood, dude. So he thinks she's fucking nuts too. Like he's like just bitch fuck crazy. But she cuts up the boar, puts a leg on the fire, cooks it, and they start eating and they have a conversation or whatever. I think this is where I can't remember exactly. This isn't the scene where he tells her about his family, right? This is the scene where he
No, this first is a scene where you see them. She obviously guts the boar, whatever, and then they cook the meat. Then they start eating it. No, and they're having a great time because they have now this boar meat that they're eating. This is the scene where he starts acting a little bit nice and starts working together with her. Then you have like the short scene where I think it came out before where she figured out how to get water and all that kind of stuff. She figured out where
we missed that. She went and found a waterfall with fresh water.
Yeah, that was an entire montage. I think that was going on. Even there was a scene where he was washing himself, and she was peeking a little, which shows that physically she's a little bit attracted to him. Yeah, and then I think they have like a self-made what's it called? God, now I can't even think of the English or the German word for it. A stick that helps him walk.
Gehstock, a walking stick.
A walking stick. Yeah. With this walking stick, she shows him around the island. And explains blah blah. We can get this there. It basically just explains everything that she's explored around the island through the entire time. And so there's one area that's all full of poisonous thorns, and not to go there because if you do it, you'll be scratching your skin off for weeks or whatever.
Which seemed off to me the first time I watched it that she told him that.
Yeah.
Because it's another side of the island, and it's rare that one side of an island would just be covered in thorns and stuff. But he believes her, right?
Yeah,
but
because
there's some reason why she doesn't want him to go there.
Yeah, the guy's an idiot. He's a moron.
Yeah.
However, then she also explains to him how to extinguish edible fruit from poisonous ones or whatever. She puts that berry on her arm and it has an allergic reaction to it. She's usually just rub it on your skin. If you see any type of reaction on your skin, usually means it's poison.
Right.
She almost trips on that one cliff of the mountain. He helps her back up. And they kind of have like a thing going.
There's some romantic tension.
What?
There's some romantic tension there.
Yeah, romantic tension is building up a little bit at least. Okay, then you just have a montage of them doing shit together. Him basically acting a little bit nicer towards her. Then they have this whole discussion about I'm not talking the knife. No, at one point he knows that she has a knife, and
Yep.
she says it was washed up on shore. No,
Yep.
what technically could mean it could have been from the plane somehow.
Right.
Yeah, but it's weird that she's where the fuck did she find that knife? I didn't say anything. I just thought it was weird that she had this knife all of a sudden, and that from everything in the airplane, wash up one little knife.
Well, this is where it kind of points out the fact that he knows nothing about life, has no experience in anything whatsoever, because you don't even have to live on the ocean to know this. You can just know that a knife is heavy. It's not going to wash up on shore. Like those things end up at the bottom of the ocean immediately. And if you have a storm or whatever that's big enough to wash up stuff on the bottom of the ocean, it may end up on shore, but that doesn't happen at all. So the fact that a knife would wash up on shore is impossible. He completely misses that and is like, "Oh, okay, a knife washed up on shore. All right, cool."
However, they get into a discussion, no? And there's something about how prisoners used to make wine, alcohol, whatever. They used fermented fruits or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then it comes across that she's already worked on that. I think it's called toilet wine.
Yep. Toilet wine is what prisoners call it. She said, "Yeah, I made some toilet wine out of fermented fruit." Right.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you
he wants to get drunk.
yeah, he's like, fuck yeah. So then they all get drunk having a party or whatever. No? This is also something throughout the entire time of the movie. He's been telling her to build a raft.
Yep.
No? To get out somewhere and blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's another thing that shows that this guy is a complete fucking idiot. What are you going to do? I mean, you're on an island where you have plenty of food and water and whatever. And even if you're going to have to spend your entire life there, you're going to be doing pretty okay. Sucks if you have to spend the rest of your life there, but you're going to build a small fucking raft and just head out into the ocean with no fucking idea where you're going to.
Right. Yeah, it's the dumbest idea ever. But he has no idea how any of this stuff works, dude. He
No, really. I mean,
moron with no experience.
However, God damn it. However, then they get drunk and then he tells what you just said, the entire shit, with him going on with his dad was so mean to him. Boo hoo, who gives a fuck? No?
Yeah.
Don't care. No. This is also something you might be able to tell a close friend when you're having a discussion, or you tell to your partner if you have relationship issues or whatever. That might be relevant at a certain point. No? But it's just like, I don't know. Okay, maybe at this point, yeah, it would be relevant to the discussion they're having. But just like you say, I mean, usually what assholes or narcissists do when you point out their bad behavior, they always point it to something that happened in their past, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you just said. No? However, after a short while thing, I'm not sure at what point it does. He made some special thing for her. Food.
Yeah. So she had made dinner before, and this is after he like had a fight with her and went and did his own thing. He realized that she had made basically like sushi and a whole bunch of food and had this huge spread on the beach. This is where he realized that she had a knife. She explained that it had washed up, and he believed that. So he kind of learned from her how to make food. So he said, "Hey, why don't I make us dinner one night?" Right? And she says, "Okay, that could be fun." So he makes dinner, this big spread full of food. They sit down and they talk. And some of the food has a color that reminds you of the berries that were up on the mountain that you saw earlier that she said were toxic. And I can't help but think she did that on purpose, honestly, that she showed him that because maybe she kind of wanted to give him a chance to try to do something to her. Anyway, he poisoned the food with these berries. So she takes a bite of it and starts feeling really woozy and sick to her stomach, throws up and collapses. The minute she throws up and collapses, he runs back into the woods and drags out this fucking raft that he made without showing her that he had made it. Gets on the raft, goes out into the water, and immediately gets like smashed by the waves.
And the raft falls.
Yeah, the raft just falls apart. And of course, he's kind of out there in the water. So when he gets smashed by this and the raft falls apart, he basically drowns. Like he loses consciousness and starts sinking. He wakes up again on the beach with her because she saw that and saved him, even though she was like basically extremely sick, right? She realizes that he poisoned her. She says, "Hey, I knew I tasted something a little funny in the food, but I just didn't think that you would be capable of something like that. but now that I know, I'm going to have to keep tabs on you a little closer. And he's like really apologetic. And he's like, oh, I didn't mean to kill you. I was just trying to knock you out quick enough to get off on the raft. Whatever this guy has to say to save his
Well,
fuck.
it just shows like this guy what a complete fucking idiot because this guy is because what he's doing now is absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah.
He didn't have to poison her or whatever. He could have just built his raft, gathered a little bit of food and water for himself, and then went out on this and left her there on the island.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he could have done. Yeah.
I mean, why
But he
poison her?
legitimately wanted to hurt her. So
Yeah.
not really worth wasting any more time on this guy as far as I'm concerned. But she does anyway, right? And we find out later why. But she's sitting there with him explaining to him how upset she is because he was knocked out for a while because he almost drowned. So he's just now waking up after who knows how many hours. And she's got like what looks like octopus on a stick that she's cooked and she's feeding it to him because he needs his energy back and stuff. And as he's eating, his jaw starts to go slack. Like he can't move his jaw anymore. And then he realizes one side of his face is kind of like stopped moving. And he just kind of starts to freeze and not be able to move. And she starts explaining to him, yeah, that octopus you just ate, it has a neurotoxin in it, which is true. It has a neurotoxin in it that can completely paralyze your body. If you eat enough of it, it can kill you. But as of right now, you've only eaten enough to completely paralyze you. So you can see what's going on, you can hear, but you can't talk and you can't move. So I can do whatever I want right now, is basically what she's telling him. And then she gets the knife and brings the knife over and she starts telling him a story about a dog that she had when she was a kid. So this dog started escaping all the time and getting away because he wasn't castrated and the family got tired of it. And her dad told her, well, we can keep him from running away if we fix him. So she said the dad castrated the dog by himself. And after that, the dog was docile, followed orders, and didn't run away anymore. So as she's telling him this story, she's pulling off his pants and his underwear. And this guy can't fucking move. And he knows, and you know, the viewer knows as well, that she's going to castrate it with this knife, right? And it's this fucked up scene because to the viewer, you think this is actually happening. Like you think she's actually doing this. Like she takes off his pants. You don't see anything that's going on. You just see her face and his face. And you hear her cutting, and then a little bit of blood spurts up on his face from what she's doing. And you can see that he's crying. He can't move or do anything, but he's like crying. And then once she's done and there's blood all over his face and he thinks he's been castrated, she pulls up a mouse in front of him.
Rat.
It's a rat. Yeah. A rat in front of him that she was actually cutting. She wasn't actually cutting his balls off. But this was supposed to serve as a lesson that she has the ability to end this guy's life or do things to him without him being able to do anything about it. So he better straighten up, play ball, and work together with her, or she's basically going to have all the power over him she wants. Cut to later when he's kind of come out of this, and he's obviously fucking disturbed. Dude. Like anybody would be. He's like not talking to her, looking down at the ground, probably horribly embarrassed, just not real sure about her at all anymore. She tells him, I can tell that you're upset with me right now. I tell you what, to make it up to you, I'm going to go catch us some food and get us some fruits and stuff. And I'm going to make us a real dinner while you're here doing whatever it is that you do. Right. So she goes off to go do that. And as she's out gathering fruits and hunting, she sees a boat pull up on the other side of the water, right? Like coming into this cove underneath the mountain where she was. And it's the guy's fucking fiance on a boat, a search party boat, right? So the guy's fiance shows up on shore. She realizes who she is because she's got that gigantic fucking ring that she wore in the office earlier. So she knows, hey, this is his fiance. She calls to her, says her name. She's like, hey, I can't believe I found you. Is he alive? Right? Is he alive? It's obvious from the way that she looks that she does not want to leave this island. She wants to stay there. She's happy there. And quite honestly, I can't really argue with her. Like, if I had a life like hers and I didn't really have anybody that I needed to return back to, I would probably want to stay there too, because it's really fucking nice. By the way, we missed the part of the story where she tells him about her husband. So there was an instance where when they were sitting in front of the fire talking and he told his entire like childhood story about how his dad mistreated him and his mom mistreated him and all that shit. She gave a sob story about her husband. She said that she was actually married once before, right? And he
Yeah.
he was actually taken aback by that. He was astounded by the fact that she was married before, whatever. But she was
Yeah.
married to a guy who was a drinker, right?
Hmm.
And this guy, she doesn't really say, "Oh, he beat me" or anything like that.
Yeah,
She
but
doesn't
I
go,
mean, but the entire situation, how she explained it hints towards it, that he was abusive, at least verbally, probably. The way she
yeah,
talks about her husband.
yeah. I mean, he was abusive, definitely. We're not really sure if it was physical or if it was mental, but it's probably a little bit of both, right? She said he was a drinker and he would get really drunk. And normally she would take his keys when she realized that it was going down that path, and she would hide the keys so that he couldn't get in his car or drive away. And one night she got so fed up with it because he was on this night particularly brutal and particularly mean and really drunk. And he was looking for his keys, and she decided to give him his keys. Right. So she gave him his keys and poured him a last drink. And she even says this. She's like, "So I gave him his keys and I poured him his last drink and I let him go." And that night he killed himself on the road driving. Right. So, and this is the point, Mike, where you were like, well, I'm not really sure if she's such a good person.
Yeah, I know. This is where, this is where I definitely have my suspicions. It's just like, there were multiple things that were slightly hinting towards it. Not that she's not a honest person. The thing is, even pretty much towards the beginning, you could see that there was a ship coming. And she said, nothing, not yet, not yet. So she wanted to stay on this island. And probably
Right.
she wanted, even though the guy's an asshole, she didn't want him to leave either because probably she didn't want to be alone. No? Then there's just, of course, and the other thing that was kind of weird, she did not want him to go to the one side of the island. It said there like thorns or whatever and blah, blah, blah. Nah. But also is another thing. But when this came up, it was like, I'm not really sure what I said in a reaction, but it was, my first thought was, did she do it on purpose?
Yeah.
Not that I would blame it on her at this point. Huh? Because if her ex or husband was actually an alcoholic and very abusive, it's like it might have been an impulsive thing, like, here, nah, take your key,
Yeah.
I hope you die. Nah, maybe that might have been at that point that would have, not necessarily at that point did I think that she intentionally wanted to kill. No, but it was first when I thought that, I don't know, that is when I was pretty sure something's fishy with her now.
Yeah. And this is the point of the movie where I felt like it was fishy that she didn't want him to go to that side of the island, right? So
Yeah.
I already thought that was a little bit weird. But then when she told the story of what she did to her husband, you know me, like if somebody is a bad person, like legitimately a bad person, and they're beyond help, I have no problem with them dying. That's just me personally. I have no problem with them dying. But at the same time, I would not have given him the keys to the car, because my first thought would be, well, yes, he's probably going to kill himself, but there's a very good chance he could hurt somebody else or hurt somebody else as well. And therefore, it created a moral dilemma for me. And so if she did that, and especially if you're talking about a court of law, if it shows up in a court of law, that's not going to hold up. You just basically helped commit homicide if he kills somebody else, right? And so for me, that was very morally iffy, just like it was for you. But I didn't say anything at that point, and in the reaction video, we moved on. And at this point where his fiance shows up with the boater, after this scene was over, you were like, there's probably a good chance that she killed them too, right? And I told you, I was like, well, let's wait, because we don't know. They may have like fallen to their death or something. And maybe she didn't do anything, whatever. So the scene that we get is the fiance shows up. She says, yes, your husband is still alive. Let me take you to them. She takes him up on the mountain in that exact spot where she fell earlier, knowing that they were probably also going to fall, right? So that alone is pretty fucked up, because then you're killing two innocent people that have good intentions of saving you and this guy, right? So we see her take them up.
One thing that actually made at least the asshole's fiance, in my opinion, to be a pretty nice girl, she remembered her name.
Yeah, dude, she's okay.
That was the funny thing. None of these other assholes even remembered her name. No?
Yeah.
And this fiance's the asshole's fiance met her once and still remembered her name. Now so
You're right.
yeah.
for all intents and purposes, I don't think the fiance is a bad person. I think she's
No.
probably a genuinely good person, which makes this even worse, right? We didn't see the fiance do anything evil, say anything evil. She just seems like a normal person.
Yeah.
And when she shows up, she does say Linda's name and she seems very like happy to have found them. And like there's no anything bad here. But she takes them up the mountain, and that's the first mistake because she didn't have to do that. She could have taken them around the beach to go see him, but she took them up the mountain, which means she wanted them to die, possibly.
Yeah. Yes.
So you're not a good person anymore. Whereas this entire time we were thinking that she was actually a pretty moral person. So
Yeah.
she takes him up the side of the mountain. And of course, the fiance slips and almost falls to her death. And we see the boater who is following them up the side of the mountain too, tries to rescue the fiance while she's dangling from the side of the cliff. And this is where the scene cuts. We do not see what happens there, right?
Mhm.
We kind of know what happens because the next scene we get, Linda is walking back to their camp alone and she has her head down and something's really bothering her. So if she's alone and something's bothering her, chances are those guys are dead, right?
Mhm.
And we as the viewer know that. She walks down to the beach, kind of drops to her knees in the sand, stares at the sand, and then goes and crawls into her hammock, into her bed. And our boy walks up to her and he's like, "Hey, are you okay? What's going on?" And she says, "I'm taking a sick day," and just lays there in the bed, right? He thinks this is weird. He doesn't know what's going on with her. He thinks probably she's still upset from the night before where he tried to kill her, right? Whatever.
Mhm.
This goes on for another day where she just kind of lays in bed and he comes up to her and he says, "Hey, look, I know you're not doing well. So I'm going to go look for some food so that I can feed us and take care of you." So at this point, we're watching the roles reverse with these two because he's been the guy who's been trying to get away. He doesn't give a shit about her. He wants her to die, blah, blah, blah. Now that she is depressed and in bed, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to go find some food. I'm going to take care of us since you're unable to." So this guy at this point, in my opinion, has kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, you could say more or less he redeemed himself. Even though the guy was an asshole, you can see his character development throughout the movie that he is not that type of an asshole that is not redeemable or technically that could not change.
Right.
Even though I personally do not think that fundamentally people do change, I think they can change, no? But fundamentally, in the most cases, an asshole is an asshole and will stay an asshole.
Yeah.
But I think there are maybe certain experiences that can cause a person that is an asshole to, basically fundamentally change as a person. It's an experience that, makes him feel empathy or shows him just something he never felt before.
Mhm.
And in my opinion, this guy is a product of his environment. This is not a guy that is an asshole because he's an asshole. This is a guy that became an asshole through the way he was brought up. And so I do think, even though I do not think he would be a person I would like to be around, probably not. Duh. You do see that him change it to a certain degree.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think that right now we see a part of him where probably the trick with the rat worked.
Yeah.
I think that was probably what he needed. He almost died out in the raft, and then she did that to him, and that kind of like made him think and change. And I think he is a changed person at this point.
Yeah.
So he's like, "I'm going to go find some food for us and take care of you because you're obviously not doing well." So he goes to the other side of the beach where she was. I think it's almost at the exact spot where the boat showed up. Right. And he's walking around looking for food. And then he sees his fiance's hand sticking up out of the sand. Right. So obviously her body washed up on shore and she was buried in the sand on the beach. Her hand with the ring that he bought her is sticking out. So instantly he knows it's her hand. Right. And you see his face and he's distraught. And it cuts from that scene back to the beach. And back at their camp, Linda has gotten up and she hears something down at the beach. And this is at night, right? So you're not really sure if this is a dream or if this is like actually happening. But this is also very Evil Dead. And even you said that in the when we watched it together. You were like, "Okay, this feels very Evil Dead." Something washes up on shore. It's a person. The only thing you see is the silhouette of the person, and it's walking very like zombie-like. Like
Yeah.
its body's making creaking sounds like bones cracking, and It's walking towards Linda. Linda has no idea what this is. When this thing gets close enough, she realizes it's the half drowned body of the guy's fiance. And she's screaming at Linda, "Why did you kill me? All I wanted was my fiance back. Why would you kill me?" And Linda has a torch in her hand. And to get the apparition away, she kind of slings the torch at it and it disappears in front of her when she hits it with the torch. But then right behind her, it pops back up. And this is that horror part. It pops right back up behind her as a zombie, like a zombified version of the fiance with like maggots hanging out of her eye and all this stuff. That's enough to wake her up. So this was a dream, right? When she wakes up, she stands up out of the bed, walks down on the beach, and from the other direction, old dude is coming towards her, right? He meets her in the middle of the beach and he says, "Hey, where you been?" And she's like, "What do you mean, where have I been?" And he says, what exactly does he say? He says something like,
"You taking another sick day?"
"Yeah, that's right." He's like, did you take another sick day?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Did you know?" And she's like, what do you mean, did I know? "Did you know that my fiance was here?" And she's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And he said, "Did you kill her?" And she doesn't say no. That's the thing. This is the point in the movie where you're like, oh, shit, okay. She fucking killed them. Right then, when she doesn't answer, it shows you a flashback to the top of the mountain where the fiance is falling off the side and the boater is trying to help her back up. Instead of helping the boat guy pull her back up, she picks up a gigantic rock and smashes his head with it while he's trying to help her up the side of the mountain.
Yeah. Emo pretty stupid because she didn't have to do that.
No, she could have just fucking kicked him off the side, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just as the Joker would say, all you have to do is a little.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She could have done that. But so not only did she kill them, but she killed this guy horribly. She smashed his head with a fucking rock. So this chick is a fucking psychopath. And this is not what we were expecting at all. Like the whole time in this film, we've been thinking that she's a good person. She's just misunderstood. And at this point, the viewer realizes, holy fuck, she's crazy. Right. So back to the beach. Flashback is over with. She's standing there looking at him, waiting to answer the question he just asked. Did you kill her? She says, "They were going to take us away from here and I don't want to go." And so that's enough for this guy to know that she killed his fiance. So he charges her. And then we get this fucking epic fight scene that lasts about 15 minutes. And it is ridiculous. Like, if you don't want to watch this movie, just watch this scene because this scene is great.
Yeah,
he chases her into, dude, it's fuck great. He chases her into the woods. There's kind of a cat and mouse chase where they're hiding in shadows from each other.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, he sees her and tackles her and starts forcing his thumb into her eye, like trying to poke out her eye. And everybody knows Sam Raimi has a thing with eyes. Like if there's something you can do with eyes, he's going to do it. So he almost pokes her fucking eye out. She's able to wrestle him away, and then he attacks her again. This time he pulls out a piece of her scalp, like he has her hair wrapped around his finger.
That part,
Dude, fuck, it bothers me too. Yeah, and like she throws him away from her while he has a fist of hair in his hand. And when she does that, it not only rips out the hair, it rips out a section of scalp about this big, right? So she's laying on the ground, and he looks at her, and he looks at his hand, and he realizes he has half of her scalp in his hand. And he starts laughing at her. He's like, ooh, and he holds it up in front of her face. She's pissed off. She comes after him with a stick, hits him once or twice. He tackles her to the ground. And then she pulls out the knife that she's had on her the entire time and stabs him in the stomach with. Right? So now he's kind of out of commission and stunned. While he's down on the ground, she gets up and runs away. The whole time he's kind of watching her where she's going. So when he's able to collect himself, he gets back up and starts following her where she went. And he realizes at this point that there is a path through the woods that she was taking where you don't have to take the mountain to get to the other side of the island. He follows this path that she was taking and ends up on the other side of the island where she told him that there were briars and thorns and all the shit that would fuck him up. And that shit is not there. It's not there. Instead, what is there is a house. There's a fucking house that is like, it's probably a good couple $1 million house that's built in.
Yeah, probably some billionaire owns, yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, Yeah, not only that, dude. I mean, he manages to get in there and he sees the house is filled with everything. It has everything: internet, electricity, flowing water. The fridge is filled with drinks and food.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. What a mind fuck. So the entire time he's been on the beach starving to death and like having to depend on her, which is exactly what she wanted. She wanted him to depend on her for everything because she wanted to keep him as a pet, right?
Yeah.
So he's at this house. He opens her fridge. Like you said, there's food, there's water, there's everything you can need. So he like drinks some water really quick because the guy's thirsty as fuck. And I think he grabs like a couple pieces of fruit and eats that too as quick as he can. And then he goes into the knife drawer because he realizes, wait a minute, she's probably here. This is where she came. So she's probably here. So he starts looking through the knife drawer for a knife to defend himself with because he thinks she's going to jump out of a corner or whatever and attack him. When he starts looking through the knife drawer, he realizes there's no knives in there. And then he hears a voice over the intercom in the house. So she is at a control panel in the house that this guy used for security. And she's talking to him over the camera and she can see him. She's like, oh, you're looking for knives? Yeah, I removed all those knives just for this instance right here where you might try to find it. And then she teases him about the fact that he believed the story she said about a knife washing up on the beach. Right? She's like, what kind of idiot are you? You think a knife just washes up on the beach? And she says something like, I told you your hands look like they'd been like counting money your entire life and not actually working. You know nothing about the real world. No knife washes up on the beach. Right? He's looking around. He sees cameras around the house that are blinking red, so he knows that she's watching him. And slowly, one by one, he's taking out the cameras. He's throwing things at the camera to break them or covering them with a towel or whatever, so that she can't see him, right? He makes it into one of these rooms that has a fireplace and a couple of statues that are in there. And these statues are bulls. They're like bulls with bull horns. And we're shown that specifically because of something that's about to come. But so he's in there, and then she shows up from around the corner with a shotgun in her hand. And it's pretty big fucking shotgun too. And she's pointing it right in his face. And she's like, why did you make this so hard on us? Why did you have to come here? Why did you fight me every second when we were on the beach? We could have been happy here. We could have lived together. You could have been my Tweety, right? Is what she says. Tweety is her pet back home. That's her bird that she talks to all the time. So this implies that she just wanted a pet while she was there, which is what he was to her, right? He's not stupid, even though we thought he was stupid the whole time. Anyway, he's not stupid. He's on the ground with her pointing the shotgun in his face. And he starts agreeing with her, you know? He starts like playing along. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Even up until this point, I know that you're right. We don't need any of these other people. We can just be happy here. He's basically begging for his life, but trying to convince her. She's so fucked up that she believes that he's sincere, right? So she starts believing, well, maybe I don't have to kill him. Maybe he does finally understand that we can live here and, you know, be fine together and all this stuff. And right when she's about to put the gun down, we see behind his back, he's got one of the horns of that bull statue, and he jumps at her and stabs her with it, right? He stabs her with the bullhorn, knocks the weapon out of her hand, and there's a whole tussle in the living room. He's trying to kill her. Like, he wants her fucking dead. I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
At this point in the movie, I was like, okay, yeah. Yeah, at this point, I'm like, yeah, dude, you should probably kill her. You know, like she's transformed you into a better person. Get rid of her because she's a psycho, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. She's able to wrestle him down to the ground and hurt him again, and then grabs a golf club from the wall because this is some fucking rich dude's house. There's golf clubs laying around. She grabs a golf club, and we get this cool scene of the golf club going up in the air and then coming right down to his head.
Yeah.
And then the scene cuts. So we don't get to see this guy die, but we know that she's killed him, right?
Yeah.
Now there's a whole chunk of this movie that we don't get to see, and I kind of wish we had, but we don't get to. We don't know what happened after that. We don't know how long she stayed on the island. We don't know any of that stuff. But the next scene we see, she is all dolled up, looking really hot in like a cool golfing outfit, and she's got cameras all around her, and she's like at some, what's the word for Mannschaft in English?
Team.
It's a game, but it's like a international competition for golfing. Anyway,
you said Mannschaft.
Yeah, Mannschaft, but that's not the English word for it. Mannschaft would be like a Competition.
A competition. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But you just said you're looking for the English word for Mannschaft, and that is team. But I do not fully understand what.
No, you're right. It is team.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, competition. Right.
Yeah. Competition.
What's the word? What's the German word for competition?
Wettbewerb.
Wettbewerb. Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Okay. So she's at a competition and she's just won like part of the competition in her group. Right. And so cameras are all around her and they're saying, hey, you're Linda, blah, blah, blah. Linda Liddle. You're the woman that is the CEO of this Fortune 500 company that's doing really, really well. And you are also the lone survivor of a plane crash that killed most of your top executives. And now you're here a year later, because you're here a year later and you've won this competition. How do you feel about yourself? And she's like, oh, I feel great. You just have to stay alive. You have to work hard and you have to push and never give up. And by the way, my new book is out. Forget what the fucking name of the book is, but she's selling a book, right? Fucking trash person. Anyway, I have a book out. It's a bestseller at this time. Go pick up the book and all this stuff. So basically, she's on top of the world now. She was found, brought back, and because she was the person in line to be the CEO of this company, she got her job back and she told them that everybody else died that was on the plane, right? Everybody. And then she gets in her car, and this is the part where I thought we would see Sam Raimi's Oldsmobile like driving down the road, but it's not there. And I don't know why, but she's driving away. She's got her bird in the car. This car is like a super expensive fucking car too. She's driving away talking to her bird. And I can't remember exactly what she says at the end, but it's something to the effect of, well, sometimes you have to break a couple of eggs to get an omelet, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And so she's completely fine with having murdered this guy and everybody else dying as long as she gets what she wants. And I think that's the end of the movie. But I think the moral of the story is be careful who you mistreat, even if they seem weak.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of create a monster just by bullying people. And that's exactly what happened.
That's true. That's how a lot of people become
monsters.
Well, monsters, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the movie. Not a horror movie, but a good thriller. Totally worth seeing. It's nice to see Rachel McAdams doing something other than like romantic comedies.
That is true, yeah. Yeah.
Dude played the part really well too.
Yeah, the actor.
They hadn't gotten that actor or somebody like him who could have played this role as well as he did. It wouldn't have been that good of a movie. But I loved it. I thought it was great. Not a horror movie, but great. Typical Sam Raimi. Yeah,
Sam Raimi. I don't remember any Sam. Well, okay, Spider-Man 3 was a bad Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 was awful, but I'm pretty sure that has to do with the studio.
Yes. I mean, Spider-Man 3 was. I mean, when I was watching that movie, I was sitting like, holy shit. How much fucking shit did they cram into this movie? The Sandman storyline, Venom, and the return of the Green Goblin. I'm like, holy fucking shit, dude.
Yep. That was a terrible film. And then on top of that, the whole gothic Peter Parker or emo Peter Parker thing just drove me fucking crazy, man.
You mean Bully McWatch? Yeah, well, that was accurate to the storyline. Well, not entirely accurate. He didn't become on a full-on bully, but Peter Parker started to take on evil traits because the symbiote influenced him. But they went a little bit overboard with it.
They did. They went overboard with it. But I think that is kind of just like any other movie that could have been good but wasn't good because the studio was like, we have to do this and we have to do this and we have to. And I don't think Sam Raimi would have completely ruined Venom's storyline if he didn't have to. And I feel like he just did because the studio forced it.
I mean, I'm going to be purely honest with it. I mean, Return of the Green Goblin, for example, would have been enough for a good movie.
Yeah,
absolutely. The Venom storyline, dude, that would have been amazing. And I just didn't. It's just they crammed way too much into it, in my opinion.
That, and then they didn't do it any favors by rebooting Venom years later with Tom Hardy either. Those were also not good. Venom has not been done correctly yet.
Well,
you agree with that?
Well, how should I say it? I did actually like the first two Venom movies. I don't think they're brilliantly, but I thought they were fine. I thought they were okay. I liked them both. I like Woody. I like Woody Harrelson as Carnage. He was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, every movie's got its good and bad parts, right?
Yeah.
Woody
But
Harrelson was a
overall,
great Carnage.
absolutely. I mean, I really liked the Venom movies. How should I say it? It's just the actor was great. I also liked the entire thing going on between Venom and Tom Hardy. Tony Todd as Venom's voice was amazing.
Yes.
But overall, in general, there were just multiple things they brought up that did not fit. Removing Venom entirely, removing Spider-Man entirely from Venom's story.
That's what I'm talking about, because that is such an important part of the story.
That's also the thing why he removes the lore is that is specifically why Venom had the Spider-Man's powers.
Right.
No, not all. The other symbiotes had like the powers similar to Carnage, no? But Venom had Spider-Man's powers because he had a symbiosis with Peter Parker, and for the DNA mixes. Because whenever a symbiote attaches itself to a person, the DNA of the symbiote and the person mixes. That's how Venom got Spider-Man's powers magnified. And that's also like, these are just, I don't know, dude. There were a lot of things in it that just did not really happen.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for them to reboot that, dude, because I really want to see a good version of Venom. And I hate that Sam Raimi was the one who had to take it on first, because he was pushed by the studio to just force out that movie, and it just wasn't good. Which the other two Spider-Man movies before that were great. I loved them. I can have no complaints about the other two movies. Anyway, this was a good Sam Raimi movie. It's in the vein of everything else he does, minus the horror, but still the blood and the story and everything. Definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it yet. If you're in America, you still have a chance to go see it in theaters if you want to, or you can wait till it comes out, but don't sleep on this one because it was a good movie.
It was a great movie, actually. I think I can only recommend it, and you should go see it. Yeah.
I'm still waiting on, when was the last time we completely destroyed a movie, dude? When was the last time we hated a movie on this podcast?
Alien Earth. That was the last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far,
we're gonna have to find one we hate soon.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. We have to find one that we hate. Yeah.
That way we can at least tear something to shreds. Everybody's probably tired of us talking good about films. But I mean, I guess I'm easy to please. Like, if it's bad, it's obviously bad, right? But even in bad horror movies, you can find something you love, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, how should I say it? I don't know. I never really thought much about if we like or dislike him. Okay, of course, I put a few movies on our list that I know you hate because I like torturing my friends.
Yes. I know what those are, and I'm going to rage about them.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be an episode of me complaining and bitching the whole time. And that's
fine.
But
whenever you have to watch a movie through a podcast, I want you to just think about it. No, you're going to hate every single second of watching that movie. And I'm sitting at home thinking, I know Matt's watching the movie, he's hating it. And for that reason, I'm going to be laughing my ass off just imagining your reactions to it.
Dick, you're a dick. Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that. So here's my thing. To be able to say a movie is bad in the first place, to be able to even have an opinion, you have to watch it. And so, therefore, just like with Alien Earth, I can say it had to be done. Because if I'm going to blackball a movie, I should have at least have seen it.
Yeah. So I think even though we said clearly we're not, even though we both said we are clearly not watching Alien Earth because I'm done with it. No?
I'm done with it too. I'm not watching it.
Dude, we could have another episode where we shit on it. But
you know what though? I don't want to torture myself because it's painful. Like, if you have something that you love, having to watch it be destroyed is not fun. It's not. And I don't need to see the rest of it to know that it's bad because we've already seen season 1. And it was terrible.
It was awful. But one thing, to be honest, this is just the effect, so bad. When something is so bad, it made everything bad that came before it good. No?
Yes. Alien 4 is now a fantastic film.
Dude, I even went back and watched Alien Romulus after I watched Alien Earth, and I was like, the movie isn't really that bad. I still have the same complaints about it because there's a lot of shit in that I think is insanely fucking stupid. But and it's like, now Well, I watched like a few days after I finished watching Alien Earth. And I was sitting there like, yeah, the movie isn't that bad. Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, they did the same thing with Star Trek. Dude, I mean, no, I mean, what was it? Enterprise. When that show came out, everybody hated it.
Yeah.
Everybody, even though it had a decent viewership. Then Discovery came out and all the modern Star Trek and the fans hated that so much that they went back to Enterprise and watched it and were like, yeah, the show was actually pretty good.
Dude, that is a phenomenon that happens all the time, and it's specifically with sci-fi. Because I don't know, we're not that far apart in age, so you remember the Star Wars prequels, right? So when those hit, everybody fucking hated them. They were terrible. And all anybody could talk about was fucking Jar Jar and Anakin Skywalker and all these terrible things about the prequels. And then when the sequel trilogy came out, people went back and watched those and they were like, these are masterpieces compared to that shit. And so now in popular culture, the prequels are regarded as great movies. It can change with the IP's new entries, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. It just depends on what you remember and where you were in life when you saw something. Like, I remember seeing the prequels and thinking they were absolute trash. But now after seeing the sequel trilogy, I agree. Those are great movies. Absolutely. Perfect for Star Wars. But whatever. It's all in history, and to the victor goes the spoils, right? So it's everybody else's opinion influencing yours that grew up with something, how much they liked it or whatever.
Yeah.
This one's not going to get a sequel.
No, unfortunately, no.
Before we end the episode, do you have anything else you want to say about this film or any other film or whatever?
Dude, I mean, I could go on for hours talking about the discussion we just started. But so far about the movie, no, just that actually I was positively surprised because, I do like these type of movies when it's like, somebody's stranded somewhere. I did not expect the plot twist that came.
Yeah.
When the movie started out, and overall, yeah, I think it's a great movie.
Yeah. I think the plot twist is what makes it great.
Yeah.
If you like those type of films where you're led to believe one thing and then something else happens, then you'll love this one. Right. So hopefully if we spoiled it for you, that doesn't stop you from going to see it because it needs to be supported. It's a good movie. Anyway, I got nothing else about this film. I know what our next film is. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have to see if it gets trashed or not, though, because I'm thinking it's probably going to get trashed by me. I don't know about you, but I'm probably going to trash it.
What? Our next movie? Nah.
Yeah.
No, that's not the one you're going to trash. Our next movie is Deep Water.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to trash it. I'm going to let you know right now. Yeah, yeah, because I can't stand sharks. I'm scared to death of them. And so because I know everything there is to know about sharks because I'm obsessed, right?
Yeah, me too.
And so this movie is going to fuck it up. Like they're going to do something wrong with sharks or not do it right, and I'm going to be pissed off. I'm just telling you right now.
Every shark movie does that. I don't really care that much. I mean, dude.
I do, because that is the coolest fucking animal on the planet.
True. Yes.
Coolest fucking animal on the planet. The only way that you can make it work, if you want to tell sharks differently than they actually are and make them worse, Deep Blue Sea did a good job of that because those were genetically engineered sharks. They work differently, and so you can explain some things away, and therefore it was terrifying. But like Jaws, I'm going to commit a mortal sin here. I fucking can't stand Jaws.
Well, how should I say Jaws? I thought it was fine, but I like shark movies, even though they're highly unrealistic. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like they always have a certain trash aspect to it that I just find hilarious. But another one that is insanely good is 47 Meters Down.
Yes. Okay. That movie scared the crap out of me because that was very realistic. That movie, the film. Very realistic. And it was done well.
Well, no.
Well, what part wasn't realistic?
Well, the fact that you have a very small cage and that sharks the size of great white sharks would even survive in that. Not possible.
Survive in the cage?
I said cave.
Cave.
I mean, the point is, but I'm not somebody that complains about shit being unrealistic or not. But the point is, I know how shark obsessed you were. And when we talked about the movie, I was like, why did you not have a complaint with that? Because these are great white sharks. that survived in a cage and over time developed to be kind of albino shark shit or whatever. The point is, great white sharks would have not survived in that cage because, for one, they cannot survive in small containments. That's why so far no one has ever been able to be held in the zoo. Then the second point is there is no way that there is going to be prey down there, enough prey down there to sustain an entire species of great white sharks.
Think we may be talking about two different movies. I think we may be talking about two different movies because the one that I'm thinking of is one where these two girls go out on a boat and get in a shark cage and head down in it. And then the shark cage, the chain snaps and they end up at the bottom of the ocean alone with a bunch of.
We're talking about two entirely different movies.
Okay. I don't know which one I'm talking about then.
I mean, 47 meters down, I still thought it was a great shark movie because they're not normal. They're not normal sharks. It's like a few great white sharks survived in this cave and developed into something else. So that aspect you have to it. Yeah. But the things I brought up about that movie, what makes it unrealistic. But generally, what I think you might like about the movie is basically just the descent with sharks.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably like it. I mean, yeah, we'll have to watch that one then because I hadn't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I saw, and maybe I'm just fucking up the name, something completely different happens. And the CGI in the movie is like top notch, so the sharks look real, and it's just fucked up from beginning to end. It's just a dread film.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find out the name of it and I'll mention it on the podcast in the next episode. But
yeah,
that one's a fucking scary one. Anyway, thanks for hanging around. Catch us next time for the next episode. And until then, I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.
The blackest eyes. The darkest side. Simply